One of our favorite sponsors is back with us, Sunset Lake CBD.
Yeah.
If you're looking for CBD that actually does what CBD is supposed to do, look no further than our friends over at Sunset Lake.
Let me break it down.
Break it down, Mel.
They're sustainably farmed, meaning they avoid pesticides and use sustainable farming practices to preserve the land for future generations. 1. 2, farm to table. They ship the CBD products straight from their door in Vermont directly to your door wherever you're at.
Now that's cool.
And third party tested. They test everything with a third party to ensure quality, dosage, and safety.
You got to go over and check out sunsetlakecbd.com. They have so many products. Break it down for them, Apple.
Well, they've got some new stuff going on. Like they always had pre-rolls, but now they got really cool packaging for it. And you can get CBD pre-roll flights of all their flavors. You can get the heavy hitter flight that also throws in some of their Keef blunts. They have a new CBD recovery body lotion.
I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other?
The other one with arnica.
The extra strength muscle rub, 3,000 milligram with 5% lidocaine.
So look,
Oh, yeah,
if you're
lidocaine.
sore, this is the stuff you want to rub on your body to make those aches and pains go away. They even have CBD infused coffee, so you can have coffee without the little jitter that you get from caffeine, and you have it in the morning and you start your day off right. Your body feels lubricated. You're going to sleep good.
Yeah, and also they have, if you kind of forget to reorder, they've got subscriptions.
And they're giving the No Simple Road family 20% off.
20% off.
Put
with
in the promo code NSR20 when you're checking out at sunsetlakecbd.com. You're going to get 20% off your entire order.
NSR20.
And don't forget those cute little gummy bears.
That's right. sunsetlakecbd.com. One of our favorite sponsors is back. It's that time of year when it starts getting dark early.
Yeah.
And it's raining, it's cold. Seasonal depression is a thing that can happen, and we have something that can help you out with that. Our friends over at Melt Premium Mushroom Chocolates are here to make sure that the blues of wintertime melt away. Yeah, that's right. I said it. It's going to melt away.
Blues
I know
of any
it's
time of
cheesy.
the year.
That's true, but we're
It'll
here
definitely
now.
do.
Yeah, we're here. We're in fall. They even have sad. It's a thing.
That is a thing. So, hey, this is what you can do. You can go to Instagram and follow at Melt Mushrooms, MELTMUSHROOMS. And then you're going to DM them and tell them that No Simple Road sent you. They're going to shoot you their menu with 10 flavors. Each bar has 4 grams of their premium mushroom blend in it, and all other kinds of adaptogens and really good stuff that'll make you feel great. And then you tell them what you want.
They have a new flavor too. They just released the new coffee crunch bar. Well, they had coffee crunch, but now it's the new one with stereotype coffee.
Oh shit.
Or stereoscope. Stereoscope coffee.
Okay.
So you tell
So
them
if you
No
like
Simple
that
Road
coffee,
sent you, and
You're going to get buy one, get one half off. And then you're going to melt your troubles away, man. It's going to come right to your door. It's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It's the good stuff. And it's coming right to you from our friends over at Melt Premium Mushroom Chocolates.
I want a comfy t-shirt.
You do?
I do.
from where?
All right. Well, I'm going to head over to Shop Tour Bus.
Shop Tour Bus.
Yep. They have some of the comfiest, coolest t-shirts that you can get out there. These are designs that are taken from Grateful Dead songs and lyrics, and they're like a cryptic puzzle that'll have people guessing, and it's fun when people ask and don't know. You get to explain it to them, and then you might hook somebody else on the Grateful Dead as well.
Yeah.
That's true. It is a conversation starter, and it is that time of year when people are wondering what to get so-and-so or who's it, what's it for this or that.
Yeah,
So
it's like, who has everything that they could possibly have in their life? That's the perfect person to get a Shop Tour Bus t-shirt
they've
or
got
hoodie.
t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, all kinds of stuff. Go over to shoptourbus.com or at shoptourbus on Instagram. Check out all the designs and make sure you put in the promo code No Simple Road when you're checking out. You're going to get free shipping from the family over at Shop Tour Bus. These are the dopest tees on the virtual lot, and some of you are even going to get a Miracle Grateful Dead bootleg cassette tape in your order.
Which I just got to say, yesterday they celebrated their actual 7th anniversary. They have put over 10,000 bootlegs back into
Damn.
circulation.
Wow.
That is incredible. That's some magic.
And congratulations on 7 years in business, Shop
Yeah.
Tour Bus. So Thank you, Shop Tour Bus, for being with us all these years. Everybody out there, support them at Shop Tour Bus or shoptourbus.com. If you're in Bend, if you're in Portland, or if you're in Denver, and it's lunch or dinner time and you're hungry, I know where you should go.
Where?
You should go to Fire on the Mountain. There's 3 locations here in Portland. There's 2 locations in Denver, a brand new location in Bend. And let me tell you, these are the best chicken wings, burgers, pizzas, salad. They even have vegetarian and vegan options available. So you non-meat eating folks, don't feel left out of the party, because it is a freaking party over at Fire on the Mountain.
It really is. And you can rent it out for a party. Your holiday party's coming up. So think about that if you're in the Portland or Denver areas.
We're actually having our holiday party for our office at Fire on the Mountain.
Oh, really?
For real. Yeah, that's happening. Don't forget about Fire on the Mountain Brewing. And if you are not in one of the locations, Portland, Denver, or Bend, then you can go to portlandwings.com and you can order some of their sauces. They even have all their swag up on the website. And this is the Grateful Dead family that's making food for everybody out here. And you know that when the Grateful Dead family does stuff, we do it with love, intention, and a little bit of fun. Well, a whole lot of fun, actually. So go check out Fire on the Mountain.
Leave room for dessert.
Leave room for dessert.
Leave room.
Leave room. Well, there's room.
I don't know how I did. I bit my lip when I went to say
You guys get it. Fire on the Mountain, man.
Wow.
Far out.
No Simple Road. Yeah, here we go. No Simple Road.
And away we go.
Where are we going?
I answered this question last week. We're going to cyberspace land.
Okay,
world.
here we go.
Here we are.
Look at Darwin's giving me an attitude.
He's giving you whale eye.
He's
It's
Look at
the dog's giving Mel stink eye. Hey now, No Simple Road family. This is Aaron.
It's Apple.
and Mel.
And we're back for another episode of No Simple Road. Our guest this week is Stephen Aizenstat,
Aizenstat.
Ph.D. He is the author of the Imagination Matrix,
and dream tending.
and he is one of the founders of the Pacifica Institute.
That's right. And he's also a counselor, a marriage and family therapy counselor,
He is a Burning Man
aficionado. Well, he
alumni of many years. I
Of the
forget the name of
heebie-jeebie.
Well done, Mel. Heebie-jeebie camp at Burning Man. They help
a wellness.
they help folks that are having difficult times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna hear.
So they're busy.
Yeah.
Yes, actually,
that is what he
he did
says in
say that.
the interview.
This was an incredible interview, and like leading up to it too, like starting to research like we do for, sometimes we know who we're interviewing and we want to, right? And other times we want to, but we don't know.
Well, yeah. Sometimes
Right.
sometimes we reach out, and sometimes we're reached out to.
Yes.
And this was one that we were reached out to.
Yes. And so preparing for that, it's like understanding, why people are reaching out to us, and especially if it's not music. That's why I'm talking about it, because it wasn't music. And the content of the conversation, I think, will help anybody who sleeps.
So that means everybody that listens.
He's amazing. Yeah, right?
I mean, if you don't sleep, you have way more problems than dreams and whatever. But this will absolutely help anybody that is a nightly sleeper.
Even an occasional sleeper.
I am a more than nightly sleeper.
Oh, yeah.
I like to sleep a couple times a day, but
That's a good program right there.
what, sleeping a couple times a day?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I've always been very dreamy. I'm a person that has very vivid, extremely odd dreams. And so any information I can glean from that odd juxtaposed, disjointed world that's in my head, if I can have some tools that will help me make sense of that and assist me in my creativity and my daily life and well-being, I'm down to learn those tools.
He talks about some stuff that is kind of revolutionary to think about, to ask your dreams and the characters and people in your dreams for help in this life. And we talk about it and you'll hear about it, but that was a really hard concept for me to kind of grasp my head around, like, how the heck? But of course, these things are not easy, but they are accessible to us, especially with all the stuff that's coming out. We're finding so much more advancements, and people have been actually able to study things for a while. So there's reasons and methods to help you. And so I just think that, like I said, anybody who's interested in dreams or is a vivid dreamer like Aaron is, I know Sydney, our daughter, is very dreamy as well.
Dream-centric.
Yes. And, people get messages through their dreams. And just because you're not remembering your dream doesn't mean you're not having them.
Wow. The book is available everywhere now on Amazon, Apple, Audible, Barnes & Noble.
Yeah, it came out on the 24th.
You can go to dreamtending, DREAMTENDING.com, and click on the banner at the top and click on books. And it's all of his books that he's released. I want to read you the little clip here that's on the website for the Imagination Matrix, because it's going to do way more justice than me, Apple, or Mel could do for this thing. Discover how you can optimize the power of your imagination to unleash your innate genius and build a better world. If ever there was a time and a place to reconnect with imagination, that place is here. That time is now. For anyone looking for a new way forward for yourself, your community, and our struggling planet, Stephen Aizenstat, Ph.D., offers a powerful message of hope. The trailblazers are people like you, the seekers, creatives, dreamers, doers, who are willing to and ready to tap into a collective purpose so vital, so vibrant, so resonant in the world today. I mean,
Wow.
Yeah, that.
Well, and okay, so if we're going to read just a little bit, Stephen Aizenstat, world-renowned professor of depth psychology, imagination specialist, entrepreneur, and founder of Dream Tending.
Imagination specialist.
I know. Stephen Aizenstat has devoted his life to understanding the profound wisdom and healing power that exists within each of us. Through our dreams and imagination, we are able to access limitless creativity and innovation, improve relationships, and ultimately our human potential.
And this isn't like I got a little heady with him in the interview, and he was very brass tacks, you know,
grounded.
This is not some like high-minded weird thing that's not accessible for everybody. This is like Mel said, if you sleep, you can do this.
His work is literally for everybody. There's not like, oh, I don't like that music, or that's not my vibe. This is not that. He is a doctor and he is a specialist, and it's
clearly
about a universal thing that we all do,
and clearly involved in the psychedelic community that we're all a part of, in as far as Burning Man goes and Tomorrowland and the festival
he
culture.
understands that realm,
right? But this is somebody that is obviously, like it's in his name, he's a PhD, and he's coming at this from a very
medical background,
very medical kind of a background. And so it's I'm really excited for all of you to hear this, and I would urge all of you to go get the book. If you're interested in dreams and ways that you can better utilize them, and you know, even the thought of utilizing a dream is revolutionary all in itself, but to better do that and to bolster your creativity and your connection and your purpose here on the planet and finding more of that through your dreams, I think is something that our No Simple Road family would be down to learn about. So that's who we're having on the show today. What does everybody think? Sound cool?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, woo!
All right, let's do the business and we'll get you to the interview. Follow No Simple Road, if you would, at No Simple Road on Instagram. Go to www.nosimpleroad.com.
NoSimpleRoad.com.
I have an announcement to make. If you didn't hear the announcement on the Monday's Rewind, No Simple Road on December 7th is hosting the No Simple Road Holiday Get Down at the Get Down.
Yeah.
Portland, Oregon. Tickets are on sale now. You can go to nosimpleroad.com. You can also go to the Get Down PDX and click on the advertisement. We have an all-star lineup of musicians from almost all of the jam scene here in Portland. We have members of World's Finest, Bodhi Mojo, Lost Ox, Family Mystic, Sponge, and Garcia Birthday Band joining us to play Grateful Dead music with music and conversation with us. And tickets are available. Early bird tickets are on sale now. They're $15.
That's a great deal for a really sweet night out to see all those incredible musicians on one stage.
That's true. Price goes up on November 10th, I believe. So go get your tickets now and then come hang out with us. It's a little family party. I said, this is the one family party you won't want to leave early.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're not required to bring anything for the potluck.
No.
You don't have to dress up or down. You could do whatever you want. You can dress as an elf if you want.
Santa might be there.
A little.
Yeah,
and actually,
Santa
you know
might
what?
be
Any kind
recruiting.
of elf. It doesn't just need to be a Santa's elf.
That's true.
Yeah.
All
That's
elves
true.
are welcome.
Yeah, all elves are welcome. Be
Elves,
ready to build
sprites,
toys.
fairies, spriggans, brownies. Yeah, the whole thing.
As long as you can make toys.
Anyway,
That's a prerequisite.
No Simple Road Family Get Down. There is a banner on our website. You can also get No Simple Road merch. Sign up for our newsletter. I let y'all know what episodes are coming out. And hey, I have news about our Patreon. I know we do like, hey, sign up on our Patreon. No, don't just fast forward past this part. Our Patreon is being
Revamped.
upgraded, revamped, redone, added to. There's a whole bunch of new stuff up there.
And there's a lot of stuff in the works.
Apple, what are you doing? 3 times a week you're doing?
3 times. Well, so far I've done 3, which I love. Matthew, thank you for that title. I love the Cinematic Adventures with Apple.
Okay.
I've done 3 of those now. I did another one this morning because I watched a couple movies last night. I'm going to start doing the weed reviews, just talking about like we do on the show, like whatever we're into, stuff coming up. It's going to be very impromptu, but I really do like doing the cinematic adventures because I watch a lot of movies and stuff.
So if you need recommendations,
and I'm not a critic. That's the one thing. Like I'm not critical. Like I can usually find something good in everything. So I'll be throwing out a lot of stuff, even if you don't like it. I usually find the good in most things, and I love watching stuff. And throwing out weird band suggestions like I did yesterday.
Right on, Apple. Thanks for doing that, man. And then also,
and jokes.
We have.
Did you guys see my joke?
We did.
No,
I saw your joke about the witches. Don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
You gotta go on Patreon.
I will.
It's kind of tacky.
Also, we have Andrew Sachs from At Some Sexy Art.
Andrew
is doing his filet mignon. It's Andrew's No Simple Picks. So he is picking the best jams from around the jam scene and giving you a little something awesome to listen to once a week.
And he's super active.
And
so he's coming out with stuff that a lot of us don't know
Yeah,
about.
man. This first one was a 17-minute eggy jam that is just sick. So, and then Connor is our Grateful Dead archivist for No Simple Road. He is going to be putting up weekly deep cuts of Jerry Garcia Band and the Grateful Dead. So there's a lot going on Patreon that if you're not a patron, you're missing out on all this cool shit that's happening over there. We are also continuing Side Roads. And look, if you were to sign up on Patreon for $5 a month, that is 12 cents a day. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, for real. For real. That's
Yeah.
12 cents. If No Simple Road isn't worth 12 cents, man,
We're worth 12
we're worth
cents.
12 cents a day.
And
So-
I'm also doing tarot of the day.
That's right. Mel's picking a tarot card every day or
An oracle or a tarot card. And I am either, I have different ways I'm going to put it up. Sometimes I'll just do it as a video. Other times I'll make a post. And yeah, I thought we could all learn something,
we're all
like
pitching in.
yeah, we're all pitching in.
And that's how it should be. Darwin even told me this morning that he would like to start adding a little something. So keep an eye out for Darwin. Maybe who knows what Darwin will be doing. He may be talking about us behind the scenes.
You never know.
In all seriousness, it was a really good thing, a kind of a kick in the butt that we all needed. Not Aaron. When I say all, I mean me, Darwin, and Apple. To participate more in the Patreon and just in the after show,
Yeah,
stuff.
there's more that happens behind the scenes.
Yes.
Man.
And then thanks again, Corey. Corey kind
Yeah.
of gave us that kick in the butt. And
Yeah,
tried
while
to
he was
encourage
here,
us
he
to do
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard from Corey today. He's doing great.
Good.
We love you,
Good.
Corey.
Yeah.
That is patreon.com/No Simple Road. And look, man, sign up. That's all I'm saying. You're missing out on some really cool shit over there.
And
Also,
sometimes we know if you need to take a break. So take a break and come back when you can.
Yep. Also, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That really helps out the show. Please do that. We need one for November. It's my birthday month now.
Aaron's birthday month.
And
Happy birthday month.
I would appreciate if somebody would leave us a review on Apple Podcasts
It'll make
or
'em
Spotify.
happy.
It'll be
Yeah.
my birthday gift from you. And see, I'm not guilting you into it at all. Also, you could tell somebody you love about the show. We'd appreciate that. You can call 971-808-1524. That is the No Simple Road tepid line. If any of you out there were at the Billy Strings
Oh my God, that was
Rumble thing,
the Royal Rumble.
please call in with a review.
I was washing my hands earlier upstairs and I had seen something before I washed my hands on Instagram with Billy Strings. And I just thought, when I was little, I loved wrestling so much.
Me too.
It was my I had posters of wrestling figures on my wall. And then I freaking loved the banjo so much. And this whole merger, I was
Billy Strings brought
what?
your childhood to life.
Yeah, he led the total
So
and then they got Chris Pandolfi
I
to be
know.
on there. I was like, what?
yeah,
That looked like the time of everyone's life.
Oh yeah, those pictures of Sierra and Lindsay,
yes.
Lou, and that was amazing. That was a full production. They did it.
they did it
Justice.
So if anybody was there, call 971-808-1524. Tell us about it. We want to hear
Let us
about it.
know.
We'll put it on the show. That's the business. And remember, Stephen Aizenstat, Ph.D., has this book out. You can go to dreamtending.com, and that is where you can pick this up. And it's, like I said, it's on all the Amazon and Apple and Audible and Barnes & Noble, all that stuff. Are we ready?
Yeah.
No, we're not. I forgot to tell everybody something. Apple wasn't here for this one. So you're not going to hear the sweet, buttery voice of Apple.
Yeah. Damn day job. Shit.
Yeah. So just a heads up so that you all know Apple wasn't here for this one. All right, everybody, here we go. You ready? Without further ado, the No Simple Road crew gives you
Stephen Aizenstat, Ph.D.
Hello.
Steve. How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
It's a
Very good. Just got out of the ocean, so I'm happy.
Ooh.
nice. Pleasure to meet you. My name's Aaron.
Hey, Aaron.
And my name is Mel, Steve. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Mel. Let me just ask you, we have many things going on in the house today.
Yeah.
So I've been exiled into this soundproof chamber. That's the good news.
Okay.
But I'm hearing, it's different than what I'm used to. So are you hearing any echo or are we good?
It sounds actually really nice.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm amplified.
Yes.
I can hear
Yeah.
the room a little bit, but it doesn't sound bad.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Well, it's
Good.
it's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. It's great to be here. I've been looking forward to this one more than any of the others.
Oh,
This is the one that
why
I'm
is
happy about.
that?
Yeah, why is that?
Oh, because I just came from Burning Man, and that was very cool. Before that, I was at Tomorrow. Do you know Tomorrowland? in
Yeah, I know
Belgium?
Tomorrowland.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm into that whole gig. So then I saw your visuals and the intention and the vision behind everything you're doing. And I thought, this is really good.
Yeah, we're going to have
really
fun.
going to be in alignment. So I was happy.
Yeah, you've got quite a colorful life and career, you know. When you look back, if you were about to, tell somebody you first met, like, how would you start your journey?
Well, that is a good question. I founded Pacifica Graduate Institute, and people ask me that all the time. Did you have a vision that, propelled you? And I'm not sure it was like that. I know it is for some people. It was more, it started in childhood, I think, actually. And I was always curious, and I would have dreams. Nobody would, parents forever to this day will say, hey, it's only a dream because they're naturally, concerned, because often dreams are frightening, and people, and particularly children, dream of monsters and so on. But I was dreaming a lot, and I was playing in the backyard, very small little yard. I just was listening, like kids do. My imagination stayed open, which was really helpful. There's a story there, because one day I went to a place, Zuma Beach. Do you know that place in California?
I grew up right down the road in Malibu.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I went to Zuma. You'll know the story. And, the big food stands and all the parking lots. It's just a civilized together beach.
Yeah.
But, there's that other side. If you go down south, there's that peninsula that goes out of breakwater, and nobody goes there. Right. And I got curious, and I noticed that my parents kind of weren't paying that much attention. So I went around and went over there, and it was amazing. I was like, 11 or 12 years old. I think the first thing, of course, is some people didn't have their bathing suits on. That was kind of different. But more important than that is I was at the tide pools there, because the tide went out, right?
Okay.
And I was just watching, how kids do, and how I was doing that, and noticing all the life in the tide pool. It was very, very, very wonderful. And then I heard a voice, and the voice was from, I would say he must have been 16, maybe 17 years old, and kind of a surfer fellow. And he just walked past me, and he said, Did you know that rocks can talk? And I thought, whoa, okay. I thought that actually, but nobody else. And, when you're 12 and there's a 17-year-old, that's a god. That's not just another guy.
For them to even pay attention to you is a big deal.
A big deal. Yeah. So I think that's honestly where it all started. And, there's story after story. So I was following a path, so to speak. And one thing then led to the next. And I was teaching junior high school, middle school, those kinds of things.
You mentioned always being a dreamer. What made you decide to start writing books on that? What was the thing that drew you to that? Because you mentioned going to Burning Man and Tomorrowland, and that's a lot. There's a lot to unpack there. But I think the world of dreams there's even more.
Yeah, the world of dreams, I've learned all through the decades now, is extraordinary. It is. And I was in college at UCLA, and I was, it was the 60s when I grew up at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really the early 70s, but Vietnam was raging, and it was hard. A lot of my friends were caught in that, just like the world of today, frankly.
Right.
And there was a lot of pain and angst, pathos. So in addition to the advocacy, really putting myself out there and orchestrating and organizing, and like a number of us did, particularly in support of the people we knew, our friends, something else started to happen. I was getting agitated, like so many were. And I'll never forget that I was in a small, back then we called it a commune. I would today call it just a collective of people that were living in a house, going to UCLA in Santa Monica. And I was talking with my roommates, and one of the women in our place, her father was a therapist, right? Well, I didn't even really fully know what that all meant, actually.
Right.
But she said, Steve, I see you're getting kind of agitated. Look, why don't I arrange it so you go see my dad? So I did that. And he asked me about dreams. First time anybody really asked me about dreams, as if they had value and purpose and meaning. But he did. And I started sharing, and that was the beginning of really something quite valuable. He then said, look, you're way into this. It's more than just casual, and I was really experimenting with different kinds of consciousness and different states of awareness. And it was back then the human potentials movement was unfolding. And to this day, you mentioned Burning Man, I mentioned Burning Man, still there's that engagement with different perceptions, ways of seeing, which is what the new book is all about, the Imagination Matrix. It's about journeying in deep imagination. But dreams, we're the portal. We're sure that. And then
to where? Portal to where?
Well, they're the portal to the psyche, to the autonomous psyche. Now, most people think dreams will talk about the events of the day. And, I've worked with dreams and held dream workshops for a long, long time now in all parts of the world. And yes, dreams do have that capacity, right? They do comment on the last 24 to 48 hours. They'll underscore what we're missing, what we're not perceiving,
Mm-hmm.
They'll encourage us and affirm, actually. People often miss that. They'll affirm a direction that we're moving in. So there's an intelligence, and it particularly comments on the events of the day and then on our history. Because if something in our history gets triggered by an event of the day, a dream will more often than not make comment.
So what about people who don't dream that often? What are they not or remember them? Because I'm sure that is happening. Is there not messaging or portals being opened in that sense?
Yeah, and truthfully, now we have all the science and the measurement tools and so on. So we know that REM sleep is the dream state. And we know that people go through those cycles 3 to 4 times a night, and we need to dream. So everybody does dream. It's the remembering of the dreams that is sometimes, distant. And people dream. And so particularly when I'm working with people, some people dream in imagery. So it's what we're thinking about. You actually see the figures in the dream, and it is dreamlike. So you have the pictures. But many people dream, and it's a mood. You wake up in a bad mood, but they can't track it really back to what happened the night before, or to a partner or a family member or something. It's just something happened. So I will listen to moods in a dream or gestures. Some people, wake up stiff or tight. So we're always dreaming. And in my work, the body is always dreaming. There's always a somatic response to the activity of imagination, particularly in dream. So when I work with people and they say, I don't dream, there's just 3 or 4 really simple tools that people can use to remember dreams. Hard part, the challenge is because, I really have a sense of the generative capabilities and capacities and possibilities that dream offer. The challenge is in the world of today, nightmares and dreams that are frightening, the intolerable is often expressed in dreams. And sometimes when I'm speaking in large groups or in all kinds of different forums, people will say, hey, Dr. Aizenstat, look, I know you have lots of tools to remember dreams and how to work with dreams, but can you just share with me, what are some ways of not dreaming at all? Turn that off. I just love a good night's sleep, right? So, it's helpful to, I'm not going to share the tools with you, but it's really helpful to learn some of the ways of working with dream, what I call dream tending, to tend to a dream, not to analyze nor interpret, but to tend, to listen to what the dream is offering.
I think it's odd that we talk so little in today's world about dreaming at all. It's something that we feel funny, I think, a lot of times telling other people our dreams. We spend as much time dreaming as we do at work or more, and in a lot of ways, it's literally another place that we're going daily. We're traveling to this other dimension where the rules of physics and time and space and distance don't matter anymore. And there's a whole language that's happening there. And I myself am one of those people. I get Melanie knows, like I dream like crazy every night. It's like an unfolding panoramic movie all night long. And to not talk about that is difficult. So to have some tools to be able to tend that would be really helpful for somebody like me.
Is that what your first book is, or your second book?
Yeah,
Both,
the first
maybe?
book is called Dream Tending. That's the name. And it is a full-on skill set, and it's a way of working with dreams. And I give examples and for tools and story, and that dreamtending.com is the website, and people can access that and then get a lot of the tools because I've put them out there for everybody to have availability. I'll tell you, I just got back from Montana 3 days ago. In Montana, I was working at a ranch right down below Yellowstone in a place called Tom Miners Valley. Okay. And I was working with 18 people, and we were working with dreams. And we worked for like 4 nights, 5 days with dreams in that expansive landscape. So immediately the landscape supports what you're talking about, that other possibility, time and space change, the natural world, the rhythms of nature are very present there. What I noticed, I just this moment wrote them back 20 minutes before we are talking, a note, an email to all of them. And I said, it's one thing to talk about dreams. It's another thing to be in a community of people that are open to sharing dreams with that sensitivity and that valuing. I mean, the way we were connecting with one another, which always happens in all the dream groups, right? It's different because it is vulnerable.
Right.
It's personal.
Yeah,
I was
gonna ask that. Like, do you find people that are like really, close to the vest with their dreams? Because that's like very personal. What if they're dreaming of things that aren't, okay for our world, to talk about? And I think that's another thing that kind of shuts people up about, sharing their dream.
Oh, for sure. That's true. And I work with children, and I work with, teenagers, and I work with young adults, of course, right? I did a lot of work actually in prisons working with gang members, and you can only imagine the resistance in opening up and sharing dream, right? Just for exactly now what you were mentioning. So what happens is we have to build trust and we have to build safety. Safety and protection. That's what's really important, particularly if we're going to work with the nightmarish dreams, the dreams that are, problematic and difficult. And that particular dreams that re-trigger, all kinds of hard places in our life. So with protection and support, that's first. A trust has to build either between me and the dreamer when I'm tending dream, and or in the community of dreamers. Mostly though, between the dreamer and the dreamer, right? I need to trust that I have the resources available to open my curiosity in a safe way to really look behind the veil, right? Yeah.
So, the dream tending, your first book, Awakening the Healing Power of Dreams. What type of healing have you seen through dream work?
Yeah, it is quite something, right?
Yeah, because that sounds, kind of off the wall there.
Yeah, but I'm trained as a marriage family therapist and licensed clinical psychologist, so I do a lot of work with people in a lot of emotional and psychological states of hurt and trouble. And dreams are very, very helpful and healing. They are, in the sense that dreams will offer us another possibility. We'll see the side that we're so scared or anxious or, agitated around that we can't ordinarily see. And I think the real takeaway is that dreams offer the resources that are so helpful. They'll offer those figures in dreams can be very supportive. And I'll share a quick story. I had the privilege of spending a lot of time with Joseph Campbell when he was alive, and he was a person that was very instrumental in helping me found Pacifica Graduate Institute. And I'll never forget, he said to me once, "Look, Steve, there's this young man up north, and he's making movies. He did, Joseph was of a different generation completely. And I said, yes. Yeah. And he's read Hero with a Thousand Faces, which is the, standard book mythologically that people read, and so many screenwriters and movie makers. I mean, it's their, the grail at this point. And it talks about the hero and the heroine's journey is what it's about. And he said, yeah, this guy, his name is George Lucas.
Oh, no.
George Lucas, that's who it is. And of course, I'd gone to UCLA, and the SC and UCLA's film schools were connected, right? So I had seen his first film. I said, Joe, I think it is really probably a good idea to go and visit, just to, see what it is. Well, next time I saw him, he said, fine young chap, that man. I feel really good about him. I think he really gets it. I think he gets this work. And then we come to Storm. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a strange thing to think that we can use our dreams for something, right? That notion itself is a outside notion. Can you explain to us a little bit about how we can start to use them to benefit ourselves?
Yes, 100%. Now, let's just carry that story that I just shared just one step further, and we'll get right to the usefulness dream, right? So Lucas creates Star Wars, of course, the very first. And of course, now it's so elemental. It's so real that generations of Star Wars have, blossomed from. So even the little ones that are 2-3 years old, there's animated versions. It's just everywhere.
It's
everywhere,
amazing.
right? And in 3D or virtual reality or augmented realities, it starts with the Star Wars template more often than not. And the deal is, like, when Luke in that movie, that story, it's a universal story. It's a mythological motif, actually. But this is how one can really use dreams functionally to really support ourselves. He comes up against one of the most terrifying figures that he's going to know when he bumps into the Darth Vader figure, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is a really terrifying figure. That's the end of the world, that figure.
Mm-hmm.
So we all know that it's not for all of us the end of the world, but it's really that one.
Yeah.
That figure that really has got a grip on us, that's really hurtful in us. Some people experience that one as a critic or a judge, or that one is rejection, that one, whoever embodies that type of energy.
Right.
Well, Darth Vader does. And what did Luke do? What did Luke do is he had to find, with the support and protection, remember who was there with him? Obi-Wan Kenobi, support,
Mm-hmm.
connection. Yoda, right? Offering him the skill set.
And the wisdom.
Yeah. In a dream, like in a nightmare dream, what happens is he has the skills. He lets go of his training at one point and follows his curiosity, which is what the new book, The Imagination Matrix, does. It starts with following your curiosity.
Oh.
He lets go and he follows something else, in that instance, the Force, right?
Mm-hmm.
The mask that Darth Vader is wearing is taken up, right? And who does he see? Yeah, his father. Who does he see behind the shadow, behind the difficult? He sees perhaps one of the most important support figures in his life, right? His father figure. Dreams offer the same possibility. They'll picture those images. They'll give the feelings or behaviors that are so difficult, or somebody outside of us that's been very difficult to live with or to be with. They'll give that a dream image, a character in the dream. And then we can learn the skills and the tools of how to approach that one and look behind the mask, behind the veil, to see what's the generative quality, not only the frightening quality that's in the dream.
So in a way, the dream is allowing us to confront those feelings, emotions, or things within ourselves that we are unwilling or unable to face in the waking world. In a way, it's showing it to us in a way that's, I don't want to say palatable, but figurative, so that we can absorb it, so that we can come to see it and understand it. Yeah?
Yes, I mean, I don't want to idealize because I've done this for decades. It's frightening. A nightmare dream comes, it's scary, right?
Yeah.
It is, and it's not appealing, and it's difficult, and there's torment, and there's torture
sucks.
in the whole thing. Yet that's part of what perhaps is going on in our life, in our living experience.
Yeah.
So we'll do a lot of things to get away from that. Thankfully, right? We'll distract ourselves away. We'll medicate ourselves away. We'll psychologize ourselves away. All kinds of things. And yes, of course, we're trying to support ourselves and come to ease. Dreams will bring up those topics, but I have yet to meet maybe just 2%. In some very severe instances. But other than that, dreams come with both the hard parts, the difficult, the torturous, as well as the resources that are useful to really deal with those figures, right? And to really come to terms with that, to look behind the veil, to really see what is possible. What is a life? Just imagine all of us. What would it be like to be in the world without that one, that force, that figure, that energy, gripped by the hard places? What would it be like not to be gripped there, but actually to be, into the generative capacities of those figures? That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Move to move through it instead of bump up against it. Well, I can think of very few things that, as a 51, almost 52-year-old man, that make me scared. You know what I mean? Like there's a few things, but a good nightmare will do it. You wake up in the middle of the night and the lights are off and it's scary and it's visceral. It's almost a tangible feeling in the room. I've had nightmares where I've actually felt the nightmare, like the energy of the dream carry over into waking, where I feel like it's still happening once I'm fully awake.
Oh, yes, for sure. We'll wake up gripped by the terror or the fear or the overwhelm. And then we wake up, often we'll be tight, sometimes sweating. I mean, I don't want to, it's tough. It's
you don't
hard.
want to minimize how big dreams are. I have a question about, like, okay, in your studies and all these years, you've had to have come across and talked about, like, sleep paralysis or, those types of things. What happens when you're getting into that type of world where it seems as if the dream kind of is in reality and you literally can't move? Because I know I've experienced that several times.
Yeah. And that's pictured sometimes like in the dream, I'm just frozen, or in the dream, I'm running in place and I can't make movement, right? There's all kinds of that. And then we're just like, tight and clenched and, we can't move. The psyche is saying something to us. We have to imagine that, where do dreams come from? That's going to help this conversation a lot. Where do dreams originate? Now, people that are dreaming imagine that dreams, they'll see themselves in the dream. Usually I'll see a figure that looks like Steve in the dream, right? And that happens like a lot of the time. But if I'm in the dream and there are other people, other figures in the dream, the question becomes, if I'm in the dream, who's dreaming the dream? You see? Who is dreaming the dream? Okay. And it may not be the ego. It may not be the singular I that we are, conditioned to really have high regard for, obviously, and we identify with. But no, I think it's the figures in the dream that are actually the makers of the dream. So that's the place of the psyche. The psyche is dreaming the dream, and we are one part of the many. The landscapes, the characters, the moods, the activity in the dream. We're part of that, but not necessarily the director and the conductor. So paralysis happens.
Holy shit.
In that instance, or period?
No, when a dream of paralysis comes, think of, it's me in the dream that is stuck, but then my body actually feels it stuck. Right. But who's dreaming that dream? The psyche is dreaming that dream. And if that's the case, it might be, wait, I'm frozen now. What is the psyche asking of me? What is the dreaming psyche? What is the deep imagination? What is the imagination asking of me? What am I asked to slow down and really look around to see who else is here now. Because I'm going so fast in my life. I'm doing this, that, and the other thing. Yeah. So if we go to that intelligence, what else is being asked of me now? And 9 times out of 10, there'll be a little bit of the dream that shares information about just that. What's the pull of my future? What's the dream's desire? Where is my life purpose in this dream? If I'm speeding so fast and now I'm just completely frozen, what am I asked to slow down, and really bring awareness, bring my attention to what and to who?
What's up, everybody? If you're like me and you're trying to do better for yourself and what you eat in this new year, I have something really cool for you. Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals make eating better every day way easier. Wherever tomorrow takes you, be ready with pre-prepared, chef-crafted, and dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. You're going to have over 35 different options a week to choose from, including keto, calorie smart, vegan, and veggie, and more. And there's even more to enjoy with over 55 nutrition-packed add-ons that help make your weekly meal planning even more delicious. What are you waiting for? Sign up and save. They've done all the math. Factor is less expensive than takeout, and every meal is dietitian approved to be nutritious and delicious. So here's what you got to do. Head to factormeals.com/NoSimpleRoad50 and use the code NoSimpleRoad50 to get 50% off your first box and 2 free wellness shots per box while subscription is active. That's code NoSimpleRoad50 at factormeals.com. Take all the guesswork out of trying to do the right thing for your body. Fuel up easy and fast. Go check out Factor.
There's a lot there.
The thought that it is not us that's doing the dreaming is a
wild.
Very that's a big statement.
So dreams can be sent. Is that a possibility? I mean,
I guess anything's possible.
just in your, because I'm sure you've seen so many different instances or heard of. So like, you've got just like a million of them in your head. And so when you have such different things to pull from, so many parts of information, and so you're saying something like this, it just seems unplausible, but because you've seen so much, it makes sense. And it's not just, makes sense. It's proven.
Well, that was what I wanted to ask is, after doing this kind of work and talking with different people and working with different dreamers and yourself, have you started to see a language emerge from all of this? A common imagery and like signposts that are consistent from different people?
Yes, for sure. Let me just share just a bit, just because we want to keep it on the ground a little bit. We don't want to get too esoteric. Yeah. Forever when I'm working with people that are dreaming, it'll be particularly with partners, and particularly if they, are close with one another. One person will be in New York, the other person will be in LA, and then each of them are dreaming that night. Mm-hmm. Then by chance, they have a telephone conversation, or they're on Zoom, or they're communicating in one way or the next, and they share the dream with each other. Oh my goodness, you just shared the exact dream that I was having of you. We are communicating through the dream time, through time and space. And that happens all the time, honestly. Wow. And people are always surprised, but in that medium, in that quality of consciousness, I do think we are sending and receiving in ways that are not linear and time bound. Right.
The same thing was occurring when, in that book, The Spirit Molecule, when they were doing the original test with dimethyltryptamine, and they had study participants on either coast. They were experiencing the same thing when they were breaking through with these entities and whatnot. And I think it just speaks to the fact that we're all part of one cosmic web of energy, and we're tapping into whatever that thing is. When our ego and our default network are all shut down, then we're touching this ineffable greater whatever it is.
Well, now that takes us right to why I wrote the second book.
Awesome.
That web.
Let's talk about the book.
That's what I named the Imagination Matrix, the tapestry, the web of consciousness that is interconnected, right? And it then dreams become even more extraordinary. And in the book, I don't start, way out in left field. I started right at ground level, but really talk about dreams as part of imagination and in turn part of a web that does have an interconnectedness to us. And you ask, well, some people, like a lot of people, dream of similar things, right? Well, they do. The inflection is different often, but the quality of the essential imagery or the dream theme is similar, like falling or flying, right? Or house or water. I mean, the big one in the world of today, of course, is intruders, right? Or being infected. Also of beauty, and the angelic.
Right.
And that's because those images are personal. And also, as Carl Jung and so many others in the field of depth psychology have suggested, they have a mythological or archetypal valence as well. So I'm just about to go to China again. May that be a safe experience. I go every year. And I work with people in China and all over the world. And there are certain images or configurations, regardless, in the human experience, that really do come forward that have an archetypal or a collective quality. They're similar, yet, of course, particularized for the culture.
Right.
But there are certain structures that do seem to be similar for folks. Yeah.
Huh. I feel like this is a lot like trying to explain a psychedelic journey. I feel like we don't have the correct language to properly explain what we're experiencing when we dream. I know that Mel and I have like a joke with each other, like, I know I dreamt something and I can remember it, but if I try and tell you about it, it disappears. Like, I can have the image in my head, and as soon as I try and attach any language to it,
we'll say, I can't talk to you about it.
It's like water slipping through your fingers.
Yeah.
And so the work that you're doing, it seems extremely
volatile.
Well, not volatile, almost esoteric, and it's something that we all do. It's kind of a juxtaposition there.
Yeah, it is. It's the most natural thing in the world, honestly. It is not esoteric. And the second chapter in the book, Imagination Matrix, has to do with journeying, right? Journeying in deep imagination. So it is similar to that kind of journeying that people are experiencing through plant medicines and 18 other modalities. But it's journeying. And what happens when we journey into those spaces? What do we discover? And how is that practical? Remember, I taught school, I'm a professor,
right.
I work as a therapist. It really needs to be applied and practical. It needs to really support my well-being emotionally, psychologically, and physically. By the way, dreams are extraordinary in their medicinal capacities. Oh, yeah. So they will really support when there's a disease syndrome, we are ill. Dreams are fantastic in terms of the resources that we can talk about if you want later, a little bit later. But yes, I think you're quite right. The journeying is the main deal, right? And to do that, we need to surround ourselves, as I share in the book, with the soul, I call them soul companions, with those figures of the dreams that we befriend, that we develop a relationship with, and then we go on journey, right, with them, which is a whole way of being in consciousness that is so helpful. Again, not esoteric, helpful, because we discover resources that are so useful in our lives, right? Particularly if we meet these soul companions, because them, we all need a community. We do. I mean, some people can do it better than others going it alone, but most of us, it's very helpful to have a supportive community.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what it's like to have an outer community of figures and then of people, and then an inner community, right? Of these figures that you meet in your journeys. So you get to befriend them. You have your inner family, right? I mean, I speak at everything from the United Nations to A, B, C, and D, big venues.
Right.
If I go there, and I can, because I have experience now, and I can use a little bit of my expertise, and I write out the lecture, and I can go up on the podium and do the thing, right?
Right.
And I'm doing that. I'm using my rational mind to boom, put it out there. And there's very good use to that. There's utility in that. On the other hand, when I take that moment to first interact with that inner community, and then I go up onto that stage, or let's not even make it big like that, or I go into a family situation that's challenging.
Right.
I'm not alone. I'm resourced by these other figures. Oh my, what a difference that makes in the quality of life, the quality of my life. It's really, really helpful.
Especially now when so many people are feeling isolated and alone and left out and other, to have something internal that nobody can take away from you. Nobody can infiltrate that space. Those are your paragons, your pillars that you have to rely on. That's huge.
It is huge.
I just wonder.
And what comes... Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, how is that not esoteric?
Well,
the inside dream aspect part, because these people or figures or characters, however we can call them, they're real in that state, but they're not accessible to us in reality, whatever our common reality is.
Yeah.
So how, I mean, are these like angels? Is that esoteric also? Like how demons, like what kind of, I'm just trying to wrap my head around the intellectual part and that other part that we can't see and measure.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. And let me just offer just some very helpful, that I found helpful in my life and people I work with, just some basic skills, because that'll happen to me too. When I wake up in the morning, unless they're gone, honestly, as soon as and most people, when they wake up in the morning, you're not going to believe this statistic. The question is, what percentage of people wake up in the morning, the first thing they do is go to their cell phone to check for messages, et cetera, et cetera. It's
80,
amazing.
80%. How about that?
Yeah, you're close. You are.
I don't want to be close.
Really?
87% in this country, believe it or not. And then when I'm working in China, it's like 95%. So, but as soon as we go there, we're part of something else.
Right.
We are part of a web, a network. We are in a network.
Different
but
one.
The network is, it's monetized, and the programmer's code is really the essential aspect of that, and so on and so forth. When we wake up, though, computers can do almost anything at this point, except they cannot dream. They can't. They don't dream because they don't originate in the essential quality of our humanity, in the deep psyche, in the imagination matrix. They don't, which is amazing. Now, I don't want to put those in opposition.
No.
Because the incredible technology can really assist as tools to actually support. And where does the technology come from at the beginning? It comes from inspiration and creativity, and from the place of dream, right? From the place of dream. But like you, if I get up and I go to the cell phone, go to my work list, go to the tasks of the day, just immediately engage that state of being. I do this all the time, but I won't be able to share the dream with anybody. So for me, it's in the morning, before eyes open, right? There's that liminal place between sleep and awake, that liminal place. And you just hang there for a bit, right? And it's good to keep your body in a similar posture right there when we're awake, right? Just in that flow, and then have a dream journal of whatever kind, a journal that you can use a pad or a pen and paper, whatever it is. And write it down. And not necessarily the whole thing, just the hints, what we remember. And that'll really support. Then the question is, now what? Is what you're asking. Well, okay, so I'm now in this esoteric world of some sort that I have not a sense what the hell it means. Right. And what do I do here now? Right? So the next thing that's just helpful, just to really keep it, grounded and actual and relatable, is take some time and write it out, and then make a sketch. Which of the figures comes forward when I just take one step back. Which figure or which scene? It might be an animal, it might be a person, it might be a landscape, it may be a feeling without any picture of a figure. Whatever that is, take a moment and just doodle, make a sketch real quick, just make it real. And then you take it from inside of yourself, outside of yourself, put it on the table right next to you. Do this for 5 days. Yeah, all of a sudden you have a mosaic of different images and figures, and it becomes more actual, more real.
Yes.
And,
okay.
You're almost
Yes.
like, it seems to me you're almost building a bridge.
It's almost like materializing through, having this kind of like recall and thinking about it and having the memory of it, and you can kind of materialize it in your mind's eye.
Yeah, and you're giving yourself like something in default reality that connects back to this other place. It's like I said, it's like a bridge.
Or like a drishti, in yoga, it's a
yeah.
focal point to kind of like, anchor onto. That's really, thank you for saying that. That helped a lot, because I have heard those techniques before that you just mentioned about just kind of being in that liminal space and being quiet, and then kind of almost even writing if you can with your eyes closed in this pad or whatever. But that other part that you said, it really wrangles it. It's like, now what do I do with this pad? Like, okay, there's a bunch of things written in it. Now what? But going back to it and looking over it and kind of like, making these associations, it really does start to make it structured and feel like something.
Yeah. And let's take it then one more step, since we're here.
Yeah,
let's
do it.
One more. All right. All right. So now they're here, just like you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're here. They're actual.
Yeah.
Now have a dialogue. Really simple, not too weird. Just, hey, I'm noticing you. And then let whoever that pattern or that figure, that image, have a voice and talk back, and just go back and forth 2 or 3 times. Let's not make it complicated. What's happening in that process is we're befriending, we're getting to know, we're deepening a relationship,
building trust
with the figures. And I'll tell you, in the Imagination Matrix, I have a whole chapter on what's called imaginal intelligence, right? It is amazing what starts increasing in our life experience. Our imagination begins to awaken, right? We're now in imaginal play. We're now a little beyond the dream, per se. We're into something else. We're really working with imagination. We're in the matrix of imagination at that point. And then it gets really interesting, because then there's all kinds of things that are possible that are just really, again, for me, one thing to be esoteric. It's another thing, how do I actually use this work in my life to support my emotional, psychological, physical well-being? Because once we get those conversations going with those figures, they share information back with us.
Oh, shit.
Wow. Is that something that you need to prepare for? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not used to having a conversation or, relationship or communication from this we'll just call it other, then that could be unsettling or jarring.
It could be. And that's why, it can be. So we do it slowly. There's no need to push the river at all, right? We just slow down and we follow our curiosity. Okay? Here's a fun thing. Remember, I start the book with following curiosity. If we really deepen into our authentic curiosity, we're not going to be anxious or depressed. I learned that years ago. So when I'm working with people that are really agitated or anxious, there's all kinds of things. At this point, I've learned all the skills, not all, but many of the clinical skills and different medicines and all that. And it's all helpful. It really is helpful. And two, curiosity. When that awakens, that invites imagination in. And it's really difficult to be curious and in our imagination and, in the grip of isolating depression or, the agitation of crippling anxiety. They don't coexist. They're reciprocal inhibitors, to use that big word.
Yeah.
So I think, for you, Mel, what is possible is, now that you're in the conversation with these figures, right? Just get to know them, not to push the river, just listen, be present, and then take the next step in the day. I do. This is what I do. So I'll personalize it instead of putting it on you. What I do is now I have the day that's coming forward. Now what? Okay. I could just leave it there and that would be it. But that's so then
we already did that before, right?
been there, done that. And I love sci-fi, but that's just another sci-fi story, right? Another possibility is, hey, in this day, what one small gesture that cannot cost more than $1 at max will I take on behalf of the conversation I just had? Do you hear what I'm saying? We just bring the work into our lives. It's funny what happens because I'll meet a character and it'll remind me, oh, relax, smile, or hey, stand your ground. In these conversations I'm sharing. And then I'll just figure out during the day, I'll just hold that idea and I'll choose a moment where I'll just
apply it.
I'll stand down.
Yeah. So that kind of reminds me of practicing. I started to, learn an instrument. And what I hear most across the board is if you just practice even 15 minutes every day is better than 3 hours, twice a month or something crazy. And it's just that consistent, the taste is always on your tongue. There's always something there that you can kind of refer to. And so that really, it's inviting it into your life, not just, having dinner with it once.
Yeah, it is a daily practice. For me, it is.
Yeah.
It is a daily practice. And that's going to take courage and that's going to take a sense of commitment. I have a very busy life, so it doesn't take over my life at all. It just really, for me, it's in the morning. Because when I start my morning, my day in this practice, 15, 20 minutes, an hour at the most, that is the most,
right.
30 minutes, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Then the day is different. I awaken differently. I'm following curiosity and I'm inviting imagination into my life. And when that happens, I have more energy, right? Ooh. I am feeling a sense of ground and home, as I said earlier, a sense of belonging. I have a sense of deep belonging. My goodness, to be in life and have that quality of experience, it's a game changer.
Yeah, I'll take it. It seems to me that this is akin to how we were when we were kids, right?
Bingo.
This is everything. Growing up taught us to not use our imaginations, to, to be rooted in reality, to, quit daydreaming and, whatever. This is the exact opposite of that. Because I remember being in wonder as a kid most of the time. Everything was mind-blowing. Everything was the coolest thing ever. And I was never bored as a kid. There was always... I was making up whole worlds inside my head and people to hang out with and things to do and drawing and, a million different things. And now it only makes sense that getting back to that would be the antithesis of the anxiety-ridden, strange, hectic world that we live in. Just to get back to that frame of mind would free you,
like a little antidote, for what's going on today.
Oh, for sure, right? It is so, because children, and I in the new book Imagination Matrix, I have 3 stories about that. Because little ones, children, are often, not always, but very, very often, naturally playful and spontaneous. Sometimes, actually, they're not even with another kid. Mm-hmm. Their little playmates in the room are their little images that they're seeing.
That was me.
That was you. Yeah. It's a lot of us. It's a lot of us. The imaginal figures that are there now are playmates, and we have conversations with them and we interact with them. I mean, even when you go to the classic stuff of Einstein, when he did relativity theory, and they say, hey, wow, the knowledge. He said, no, it's not knowledge. You can have all the knowledge you need in the world, but imagination, that is the resource where all this comes from. And so it's, And so and then we go to school, and of course we're in Western culture, and, there's a lot of expectation that's put on. And then there's a family script that comes forward. So we're trained out of that early on.
Right.
But now it's time, I think, particularly in the world of today.
Yeah.
Look, it really is time because we want to come back into imagination, into our creativity. It's no wonder that Harvard Business School, what did he just say? Harvard Business School. Now, a big part of that is the work of imagination. They figure, yeah, you can go online, you can download all the kinds of, work templates that you need in addition. And they, of course, do a brilliant job teaching that. But imagination is really where it is because people know now that is, in a business sense, it's where the competitive edge is. It's innovation. It's the next evolution of creativity, right?
Yeah.
So there's real now coming home to the valuing of imagination. And that's what I really hope this book is going to offer folks, really, is a way to come back home to the deep imagination. Yeah.
Well,
Wow. What a great message to offer the world. It's something that it's not another like how to, you know what I mean? Like you got to go to the gym. You need to buy this, this like elderberry juice or something. It's something that is with a little bit of attention and, forethought, you can participate within a few days or, weeks time and actually get something of value to your life. And that is such a blessing to the world. So thank you for offering that and doing that, like just on everyone's behalf.
Steve, the Imagination Matrix comes out on October 24th. Is that correct?
Yeah, just days. You can tell my enthusiasm, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. Decade or so working on this because it takes dream work and dream tending to the next evolution. We're now journeying in deep imagination, and dreams become portals through which we begin the deeper dive into imagination. It's very cool. And it comes out the 24th, just days from this conversation. So I'm very enthused about that.
I don't want to step back into some of the stuff we're talking to, but I really want to know your thoughts on recurring dreams and what type of, language or messaging is there, being able to either jump back into a dream that you've dreamt or continuously showing up at a dream that you've had.
Yeah. Well, there's three things that touch me in what you shared. Recurring dreams, right? The dreams that repeat again and again and again. Okay. For sure. Remember, who's dreaming the dream? The dreaming psyche is dreaming the dream. They're saying, hey, Steve, dude, let me show you something. He didn't get it that time. All right, let me do it again.
Okay.
Oh, he didn't get it again. All right, let me do it again. I'm going to amp it up a little bit this time, but we're going to do the same dream theme, right? So first and foremost, I think it really is saying, hey, I want your attention. I have never in my professional and personal experience found when I'm working with a person and a recurring dream, it is not of significance.
Wow.
It is really very important to revisit recurring dreams because they carry so much for us, right? They do. And so when people share that, I go, yes, let's talk. Let's really work with the skill set. Let's go underneath and hear what's being offered here, right? Yeah, what is being offered in the recurring dream. And the other piece is, as we've been swimming in the sea of consciousness, creativity and imagination, dreams were never back then, and they're never really out there. They exist in the immediacy of presence. So even though a dream came 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
When I share the dream with you, it's here now.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's here in the immediacy of right now. Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely is not part of regular space-time. It has the proclivity of stepping outside of that, and even telling, like you said, even telling you like a dream that I had 10 years ago brings it right now into this present moment, because I don't think that thing even ever lived here in the first place. It's
sometimes
elsewhere.
Dreams can feel like a memory that, like in your real life that you've had as a kid. It can feel like a dream, recalling it the same way the memory does.
Yeah. Let's listen to what you just said. It can feel like a dream, right? So, there's something called waking dreams. It's not a dream when we close our eyes and something comes awake, right? That's the dream that we're more familiar with. But they're waking dreams, and we all know it. We're walking down the street, or we're in the country place, right? And something, our mood changes and the light shifts and we see things just a little differently, our lenses of perception open. It just happens.
Yeah.
And it's dreamlike, waking dreams. And that's the, place of the imagination and the imagination matrix. We're now a participant in the matrix of imagination. And in a lot of ways, we're going to work with that in very similar kinds of ways, but we're going to navigate and bring different skills and tools to that kind of experience, really. Wow. It's very common for all of us when we bring our attention, and our awareness to it.
The last thing I want to say before, because I know we have to get going, but the last thing I want to ask is, you were mentioning that like locations can play a big part in dreams and they can speak to you. When you're somewhere like Burning Man, and all you have to do is linger in Burning Man. I can't imagine you're setting your alarm for things. So when you're dreaming in that, in those types of kind of heightened awareness with so many people that are open, and have you had any grand memory or some type of shift, or maybe even something that from the book or anything that could, that you could share?
Well, yes, that's a beautiful question. In the book, The Imagination Matrix, I actually have written a whole bunch about, not a whole bunch, but a big section on the Burning Man experience. I tell a story.
Cool. I can't wait for the book. I'm so excited.
Me too.
Okay. But now what I do at Burning Man is I work in a camp, because in Burning Man, there's lots of different camps, right?
Sure.
And I am part of what's called the Heebie-Jeebies camp. So it's, everything's given a name that is fanciful and, and this is a camp of what we call healers, right? So there are people that are doing somatic body work. There are people that are doing dream work. There are people. So I am one of the persons that I'm sitting on the playa, which is the sand, in a tent, and the people will come, and they're usually in some kind of, distress of one sort or the next. That's why they would come, because they're hurting them. When you're at Burning Man, everybody's vulnerable and open, and not everybody, but 90%,
right?
Vulnerable and open. And so, stuff, whatever you're dealing with is going to come forward, and they'll seek us out. I mean, there's no lack of business, let's say. There's lines. There are lines.
Yeah.
The bikes are coming and the lines are forming. But what I love about that work is when I'm working in imagination, that's why it's part of this new book. When I'm working in imagination there, we're already in the imagination. You're immersed from the beginning, the art carts, the dancing, the lights, the community, the connectivity. It's not a music festival at all. It's something else.
Yeah.
It's very creative and artistic and engaged. Well, how amazing is it? Think of what it's like for me. It is like, I feel it's one of the highlights of, my year.
Aww.
I'm working with people. There you have 40 minutes at most, 30 to 40 minutes, not 4 months, not like a session every week for 4 months.
Right.
So you have the ability to not necessarily go through a particularized diagnosis, develop a treatment plan, then schedule out 4 months. No, you're there. You're in presence. Your humanity is completely here and now. Now, of course, we all draw on our talent and our skills and
right.
our access, and our experience. But now we're there. And the point I'm wanting to make is, okay, we work, and then the work doesn't end there, right? You're going to move from that imagination right back onto the playa. So the imagination of the collective of that community experience is going to greet you as soon as you walk outside of that healing tent. Right?
Have you been to Oregon Country Fair?
No, I have not. That sounds great.
Steve.
It sounds great. It is, Steve. It's great.
It's Burning Man in the forest. It's been going on for 50 years. It was started by Ken Kesey and the Merry Pranksters in Veneta in Oregon, and it's been going on for 53 years. And we were part of the spoken word camp last year. There's different camps, just like Burning Man. And you would... I just had a vision of you on one of the stages at Oregon Country Fair talking. I need to introduce you to those folks so that you can.
Oh, please do. Yeah,
you do that
already.
For sure.
I'm ignited from inside out already.
What a pleasure this has been to get into your dream mind. And for you to share, like I was excited about this all day.
We were both.
But
lit up.
and I listened to another one of your interviews, and that pumped me up a little bit more because I got to hear a little bit different answers and you know, like deeper into something else that we didn't talk to. So I'm really appreciative of your time and your expertise and sharing. And thank you again, like for the work that you're doing. And you continue to do.
And thanks for spending time with us. Steve.
Yeah.
It's very gracious of you. I know you're busy. And this, like Mel said, we were super excited to meet you. And it went too fast. I just scrolled and I was like, oh shit, we're almost out of time.
I feel the same. I feel the same.
With your permission, I would like to give your publicist's information to the spoken word folks at Oregon Country Fair.
With my permission?
Yeah.
Is that enthusiasm.
Cool?
My enthusiastic permission.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
you know, I hope it's okay, but we'd love to have you back sometime if you have, you know, enough time, like, or if you come up, you know, you said you're a busy man if you have other things going on, but like, I feel like we kind of just talked about the tip of the iceberg here. I would love to, in some further time, do an episode 2 or something else.
I genuinely, I'm not just saying this.
No, yeah.
I would love to come back and be with the two of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve. You have yourself a wonderful evening. I'll send I'll forward your info to those folks, and trust me when I tell you that time of your life.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Awesome.
All right.
Right on.
We'll
have a wonderful day. Safe travels.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
That was
insane.
we have to go. I can't.
You gotta leave
I gotta
right now?
leave right now.
Oh.
I have to. My mind is blown. I have to digest it, but now I'm going
Now you're
to
gonna go see Cypress Hill.
get my mind blown again.
In a symphony.
Yes.
Okay.
I love you.
Love you too.
But it's a burden. Family needs has been deferred, and hella means been the earth. And alchemy can bring the birth, the melody of a newborn. So persistent, so resistant, so insistent, so commitment, so resilient. Or haven't you learned it? No simple road. 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 My windshield is shattered as I focus through the spot in the corner that is still intact. The react is both a defense mechanism as well as a fear. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A equal A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
Ever wonder what a punch from Elton John feels like?
Or how you'd cope with having turned down the chance to be in Nirvana?
Or what signal Keith Richards gives when he wants you to get the hell out of his hotel room?
Fans of Too Much Effing Perspective don't have to wonder, because they've heard these exact stories and a jillion others on our podcast. I'm Alex Hoffman, former tour manager for Radiohead.
And I'm musician and comedy writer Alan Keller. On the TMEP show, we get guests like Nancy Wilson from Heart, Jeremiah Freites from the Lumineers, and Modern Family's Julie Bowen to tell us things they may have only shared with their therapist, clergy, or a TMZ stringer.
So join us on Too Much Effing Perspective. That's EFFING Perspective. The only podcast you crank up to 11.